Hi guys, so I wanted to show you this clip from PMQs between Boris Johnson and Sir Keir Starmer. Now it's not a very exciting clip, but it is a very interesting clip. So what I'm going to do is I'll let you see the entire video and then I'll come back with some comments because I find it very interesting and I'll tell you why.
When the Prime Minister returned to work a week ago Monday, he said that many people were looking at the apparent success of the government's approach. But yesterday we learned, tragically, that at least 29,427 people in the UK have now lost their lives to this dreadful virus. That's now the highest number in Europe. It's the second highest in the world. That's not success, or apparent success. So can the Prime Minister tell us, how on earth did it come to this?
We've heard from Professor David Spiegelhalter and others that at this stage, I don't think that international comparisons and the data is yet there to draw the conclusions that we want.
The argument that international comparisons can't really be made when the government's been using slides like this for weeks to do international comparisons just really doesn't hold water. I'm afraid that many people are concluding that the answer to my question is that the UK was slow into lockdown, slow on testing, slow on tracing, and slow on the supply of protective equipment. Deaths in care homes continue to go up. Why hasn't the government got to grips with this already?
Well, actually, Mr. Speaker, I mean, he's quite right, of course, to look at the crisis in care homes, and he's absolutely right to say that there's an epidemic going on in care homes, which is something I bitterly regret. I can tell him, actually, that he's not right in what he just said about the state of the epidemic in care homes. As if he looks at the figures, in the last few days, there has been a palpable improvement.
On Monday, there were just 84,000 tests, and that meant 24,000 available tests were not used. What does the Prime Minister think was so special about the 30th of April that meant that testing that day was so high?
The ambition clearly is to get up to 200,000 a day by the end of this month, and then to go even higher. And as he knows and the whole House will know, testing, a fantastic testing regime is going to be absolutely critical.
Okay, so what's interesting about this video is that Boris Johnson is not the typical Boris Johnson. If we look at, let me just find a part where you can see Boris Johnson speaking. He's very timid. And I think Boris Johnson is like the school bully who has been called out in front of the class where he has none of his supporters behind him. He realizes now he has to tell the truth. Now he has to own up for what he's been doing all this time. I think it's very telling the fact that Parliament is pretty much empty at the moment. You can see there's almost, let me see, there should be a scene here. You can see it's pretty much empty. And I think this is extremely damaging for Boris Johnson, for his modus operandi. The way he operates is he wants the crowds behind him cheering him on. And now that there are no crowds behind him, he is much diminished as an individual. You can see his body language is completely different to the type of body language he would use when Jeremy Corbyn was on the other side. And I think it's extremely interesting how Sir Keir Starmer is attacking Boris Johnson in the same way a lawyer would attack a defendant or a witness in the witness stand. So this is an interesting exchange. Boris Johnson is really, he's attempting to defend his position. He's not attacking, he's defending. And Keir Starmer is really taking holes out of him, knocking holes out of him. So I think the exchange is really interesting. And perhaps going ahead, we're going to see more exchanges like this. It's not going to be the exciting clips that go viral like in the past with Jeremy Corbyn. But I think Keir Starmer's approach is extremely professional. He's not getting emotionally involved. and he's not allowing Boris Johnson to just say something and get away with it. So it is a very interesting exchange. Let me know in the comments, guys, what you think. I'm extremely impressed with Sir Keir Starmer. It's not exciting, once again, but it is extremely interesting. Let me know in the comments. As always, your comments are much appreciated. Thanks. Why not become a Patreon and enjoy access to our Discord server where we share news, chat, and have some fun. If you become a patron, you can also make video suggestions on topics that are important to you. Check it out via the link in the description.